Mind as we go into this is that there's no points resets. We keep the points from the day so far, and that means that players like Cris have their work cut out for them. 27 points makes him the lowest point holder in the lobby right now, but to be fair, that's only 7 behind Guubums up at the top with 34. So it's not unachievable, right, that things will swap around.
Yeah, only a 7-point gap over 2 games. That's just a couple, like, hey, top 4 versus bot 4. So Cris with 2, maybe like goes 2-2, depending on how the rest of the lobby shakes out, does have a chance. But we are going to hop on board with prestivent, starting with that belt. Leona gets another belt. So
not bad.
Oh, yeah, not bad. Just frontline item start.
I mean, you get too many more belts and you'll start looking like a Final Fantasy character. They wear lots of belts.
I did understand that joke. I've never played Final Fantasy, but I have eyes. I have seen Final Fantasy characters. Yes,
That's
believe
true.
it or not, I have eyes.
Lots of belts, lots of buckles, lots of bling. But we're on board with prestivent right now, like you said, with the double belt start, which is not bad. I mean, if there's a lot of good belt items right now in the game, that's one of them right there. Belt plus sword. That's a Zeke's Herald. We'll see if maybe that influences the decision a little bit. Otherwise, there's a good reason to wait and see what you've got. There's a lot you can do with those.
He did get into finals off of playing Dark Flights, and one of the options is slamming that Zeke's Herald. There's a chance he always just defaults back to that, hitting the Zeke's immediately. You have, if you want to play the Swain version, the extra belt is actually pretty key because you really want Morello on that Swain to spread anti-heal among the entire opponent's team. So pretty good item setup for prestivent right now, even if his units aren't looking quite as good.
What do we got here? Some interesting choices. Luden's Cluttered Mind.
I'm
combat training. I don't know. I don't know about that.
I'm not sure about combat training. He doesn't have any kind of strong board right now. Or any kind of strong carry he's really looking to build up right now. So gonna go with the Cluttered Mind, opting not to reroll that. It's not a bad option. It's similar to Clear Mind, but works the complete opposite. Instead of empty bench gives you experience, it's full bench. So you are losing you're losing economy by keeping your bench full, but the trade-off is you get those 3 free EXP points, and you get to hold a bunch of pairs to make your board stronger in the future.
Yeah, and it gives you a lot of options too. I mean, that's why it can be a bit of a double-edged augment, right? Where on the one sense you're getting the benefit of the XP, on the other hand you are cluttering your mind, right? You're thinking about all the different possibilities. It can make you a little bit dizzy sometimes. It can make it a little bit awkward when you're opening orbs, but yeah, we'll see what he can do with it. Also awkward if you're trying to make interest as well.
Hey, the saying is clear bench, clear mind. There's cluttered bench, cluttered mind. I don't think anyone has said that yet, but it is true. There is some kind of mental component to this game, and needing to kind of like budget what you're using your mental space on. If you're just worried about a bench full of units, you're worrying less about other aspects of the game, like maybe your positioning, what units you're actually going to play. So hard augment to play around. Prestivent just gonna go for it. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I know I play worse with a full bench, but then again, I am far worse of a player. Let's check out what Connerisme is up to. Grabs the guild emblem right away, manages to get that out of his first augment. Static Shiv as well, so could certainly be going in that Xayah direction eventually, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is Xayah. Off of the items he's slammed and off the augment choice, that guild crest pretty much automatically points towards Xayah, and I think I touched on this yesterday, but the static shiv slam is really good for saving HP early. Even though it does use up a bow you'd rather use on Xayah, one of your items at this point is going to be guild emblem, so realistically you only need one more bow for Gintu's Rageblade. That last item can kind of be whatever, so the static shiv, a good slam to save HP now. It can go on the Twitch later, and I think this is also speaking to what we're seeing. We're already getting an idea of what some of these players are playing. We saw an Olaf player with personal training on the other side, so players starting to establish direction early at this point in the game.
Yep, that's right. And so at this point, kind of just waiting to see what emerges out of the carousel round. See if Aesah and Cris can keep their win streaks going. You know, you and I were talking about this a little bit. I always felt like Lilia is just right on the edge of being a champion you can reroll. She seems a little bit too weak now, but I don't know. With that ability, double casting with Mage, I've been wanting to reroll her all set long, but I think it's just not quite there.
Yeah, from someone who really wanted to play a bunch of Eep in set 7, there was about a week where it was good, and then everyone just realized, oh, don't even bother re-rolling for the Lilia, just go level 7 and play just standard Olaf Scale Scorn. And Lilia, I think, is still a good item carrier with the AP items. She still does plenty of damage in the mid-game. I think some people sleep on her, but she's just not worth re-rolling, honestly, which breaks my heart. I love my good old 2-cost reroll. I love my Cavaliers, but yeah, she's just not worth it right now.
I agree, though. I mean, if you use her as an item holder, if you're going like Soam or something like that, she's great at holding like the you know, the Tears, the Morellos, that kind of thing. Does a lot of damage if you have Mage online, even 3 Mage. Cris goes for the Megatron Cloak. Okay.
Yeah, as we look over on the augments, I believe I saw a gear upgrade, so that could point towards another Xayah player. Looks like we might have a lobby full of Xayah players. Oh, look. Well, take your pick. Lobby full of Xayah players or lobby full of Graves players, Doa. Which are you taking?
I choose the lobby that we casted 2 games ago, where there were no Xayah players and like an interesting variety of stuff. That was, which I feel like we've seen more of over the course of the day. I mean, I think we're certainly going to see some Xayah players in this lobby. It's just too good. We've got people on that start, but we have seen, like, honestly, more variety than I expected coming into this weekend, which is great.
Yeah, and I think that it's a natural progression of the meta. People are seeing, oh yeah, everyone's trying to play Seraphine Graves. Well, I don't want to play a contested comp, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play other stuff, just not even bother trying to contest. Play my own thing and get my consistent results. The meta has been evolving over the course of like the days of the tournament. So like day 3 has clearly the meta has clearly evolved between day 3 and day 4, but even over the course of day 4, we are seeing a pretty drastic meta shift towards Seraphine Graves and then back a bit away from that towards some of the more uncontested comps.
And we've also seen players get better at things like managing Double Trouble, Dark Flight builds. You know, we saw Built Different earlier, and that's something that always takes a little bit of time to kind of figure out on a game-to-game basis and just kind of on a set basis as well. So it's kind of those fringe comps that we're seeing pop up here and there as well, which is neat. Got to mention Deja as well. Some players going that. It's been roughly, I feel like, 1 player a lobby trying it out at least, and we have seen some success with it at least.
Yeah, something like that. It's back to the discussion of how good is the meta, how diverse is the meta, and at different points the meta has been, oh, there's a couple comps that are being focused on, but there are a lot of playable comps. And I think as we go later in the day, we have actually been seeing a shift back towards there's a lot of playable comps. Obviously, you have the Graves and the Seraphine comp, you have the Xayah comp that have come out on top still, but they're not as... At least from what we've seen on the main broadcast, they haven't been just completely dominating the play rates like they have the past 3 days or so.
Right. All right, well, Cris, just doing some checking around a little bit as we shift over to take a look at Degree, who already has 5 guild rolling here. Maybe an opportunity. Yeah, I'm probably not going to build the Morellos there, but we'll see.
God. As the loot master, excuse me, I called out gear upgrades. It actually is the loot master, but like I said, that's still probably going to be pointing towards it could be Xayah, though, considering it's a decent Mirage. This could be an angle for going Deja, actually, like you said.
Could be,
there's a common Deja build right now revolves around Zippy as a secondary carry, so that this could actually be an option for Degrees. Getting a lot of AP items, no bows, that actually could screen Deja.
It is kind of feeling Deja if Degree sticks with this, and you're not like mega committed to guild, but you're pretty much committed to guild if you take an augment like that. And so the question is, are you going to get the pieces to, you know, put it together? And with Deja, you really need that front line that buys you time, right?
Yeah,
So Zippy could help with that. Ionic Spark. All right. Hey,
Spark, a good
points
slam.
AP too. Yeah.
His other options just weren't looking good. I mean, Zephyr at this point, if it's pretty much a last resort, unless your name is Robert Van Knob and you just that is your only item you can slam and you want to start win streaking. The Morello, not too appealing. Also because there's no good holder on this board, but there also aren't that many good Morello users in general in the early game, so just not an appealing item. There, the Ionic Spark makes a lot of sense. It's a good item anyway for Deja. A lot of AP comps, you really want Shred of some kind, either with Static Shiv or Ionic Spark, really let you get through some of these tanky front lines. So it's a good build for Degree, and it'll definitely scale into the late game. So just good slam.
Yeah, totally. Can he win this round though? Looks like it's gonna work out. Well, I don't know. That Vlad 2 is pretty big, but yeah, looks like he's gonna have enough. I mean, Zippy giveth and Zippy taketh away. Like sometimes it looks like he's about to finish off a champion on the other side, and then he just jumps to the other side of the arena. You're like, Zippy, what are you doing? Dare you to recombobulate? No, he's not. Okay.
I love to see recombobulator. This is not a recombobulator angle. If this was a random Zippy 2, if this was like a random Zippy 2 plus maybe a couple of other 2 stars, it honestly could be recombobulator. Okay.
Hey,
this man is built different. Rolls twice, finds Deja.
I like it. He knew he did not need to recombobulate. He knew the Deja was on the way.
I'm learning. That is the best I got. I am learning. Oh, I'm looking to play Zippy Deja. Okay, let's just find the Deja on level 6. Yeah, that's about accurate.
I mean, the question is, though, how strong is this really going to be? You know, with the items being the way they are, dragons obviously take up 2 spots on the board. Deja considered, one of the weaker dragons in isolation. So how is this actually going to work out? I'm very curious.
I think for now, it's just going to be okay, but there is so much potential for this board to scale. On level 7, he just needs to find a Zippy 2, some other upgrades, probably a Jace, and then he's good to go, or even like a Nunu 2. So he's got a lot of options for scalability. Of course, he's going to lose this fight against Aesah, and Aesah is really strong up there at 92 HP, but he has his direction. He kind of knew his direction probably was going to be Deja anyway off the AP items. There was still some room to go Xayah if he got a Rage Blade, but now he has the Deja. He knows exactly what his direction is, and then he can go from there and worry about the scalability of his board.
True enough. All right, checking in with Guubums here, who came into this as first place overall in points, has certainly had a good day in the arena, going with a little bit of a Whispers board, of course. The Siphon is interesting. I feel like we don't see a ton of Siphon. It's probably just going to be a bit of a placeholder, but how do you feel about Siphon as kind of a placeholder?
Or
am I just wrong?
No, I think he's a good carrier. He's not the ideal dragon you want to be carrying, but I've gotten some solid top 4s with him if you play him from ahead. As is, it looks like off the Siphon, it looks like maybe looking at a Zyra, especially with the Rage Blade built. From the 70 HP, it's maybe a little bit sketchy. Also considering there is an Obsidian Cleaver built, taken off a Portable Forge. And so that's redundant with the Whisper Shred. So it could just be having the Siphon on your board for now as part of strongest board, and we're just not even going to worry about Whispers this game.
It seems that way, yeah. Just from what we've seen. Meanwhile, we move to our 3-4 carousels. We take a look at the other augments that have been taken. Nothing super crazy out of the ordinary. Kurumx has some interesting Whisper stuff going on there, but we'll check in with his board a little bit later. Meanwhile, Aesah still on that win streak at 94 HP, so great start for Aesah in this game. Because remember, there's only 2 games remaining. This one and then 1 more. So if you're a player like Aesah, who's already pretty high up points-wise, 33, so just 1 point behind Guubums at the top. Like, yeah, good solid game. Game number 1, you take those.
Yeah, Aesah is the one at 84 HP. Connerisme is the one win streaking at 94, and he's actually not even that much further behind at 30 points. Like, it's still down a bit, but especially when he's win streaking, he's probably looking to play Xayah this game, and that is a board that caps out very high. So looking to go for that first, establish a potential 38 points, and from there you're setting yourself to be in a good spot to win the tournament, especially as a newcomer.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, Kurumx, we wanted to talk about that a little bit, going for the Deja. Has a dual gauntlet, and we've seen crit builds kind of be the standard so far with that. And it looks like the front line is pretty decent. Deja getting a lot of time here, at least against this board anyway.
Yeah, the crit builds we've been seeing a lot of. There's a lot of ways for Deja to get AP, and this is a concept I believe Mortdog has explained as damage buckets. So when you have so many ways to get AP, in order to multiplicatively scale that damage, you want to build something else. You want to build maybe like attack speed with the Ginsu's Rage Blade to get the cast going faster, and the real best way to amplify that damage is to build spell crit with the dual gauntlet, and then hopefully the Infinity Edge. So just the spell crit builds becoming a lot more common, especially with the guild build, which with the Jace on the board and the guild bonuses can give a lot of AP to this Deja, and she wants to just multiply that damage with spell crit.
All right, let's see how it works. Deja versus Deja. Kurumx versus Degree. Now, it's a scary Zippy on the other side, but I feel like Kurumx is looking a little bit better board-wise here. The Jace certainly helping out a lot with that, I think. And yeah, this is gonna be another one for Kurumx. But this is interesting. We don't often see Dejas contesting each other in this current meta. I think it's the first time I've seen two Dejas in the same lobby today.
Is that 3 Dejas?
Maybe it is.
Am I seeing that Prestivent's also playing Deja? Okay.
What is going on? All right.
Okay, sure. I guess we're getting a triple Deja lobby today. What is this? Is this set 7? Is this a spell sword lobby? What is happening here?
Duelist dexterity tempting everyone to go for Deja apparently in this lobby. Or at least
it is one of the stronger mirages for Deja, in all fairness. And when people see the opportunity, they hit an early Deja. That's a big thing about playing around some of these 4-cost carries or the 7-cost dragon carries. You hit one early, there's your direction, and then you'll look around the lobby and you realize, oh, I'm triple contested. Well, I better hope I hit, because I already hit my first one.
I mean, that's the other thing, too, right? When you talk about the way that metas kind of can evolve here and there throughout the day, throughout the weekend, is that you think you're really tricky. You're like, all right, well, I'm going to play Deja. It's going to be uncontested. Not really as many people are playing it. And then 2 other people have the same idea. How do you pivot out of that? We'll have to keep an eye on it as we look at the other players here. Liltop with trying to get the Olaf online.
Yeah, Liltop in a bit of a rough spot, had that early Olaf, but is now at 30 HP, was not able to stabilize at all on level 6, is now just on a 7 loss. Honestly, at this point...
That's a Jace 2.
That is a Jace 2, indeed, for Kurumx. At this point, Liltop might... He's holding on to his gold, and I'm not sure why, because if he's trying to play Olaf, then it needs to be going for... this roll down on level 7. I wonder if he's greeting out actually for Xayah, just seeing his items and saying, hey, Olaf isn't really going to work from this spot. Yes, I have personal training, but I think the value is going to be giving up the gold augment and just going for a board with a higher cap. So, Bruiser Heart. I'm not sure about this spot for Liltop. He takes the Bruiser Heart. I think he just has to commit Olaf at this point. Is going to go level 8 to do it.
Yeah, I think you're kind of committed at this point.
Yeah.
Liltop, to their advantage, did come in at 31 points. So came in 4th overall in total points. So an 8th probably, ends it, right? The chances of taking that top 4. But if you're able to maybe salvage a 6th, maybe even grab like a 5th or something like this out of this, or turn it around, you've got a chance. Coming into it with a little bit more points than some of the other players in the lobby, at least.
Yeah, and poking around the lobby, we've got quite a few players that ended up going level 8. I believe we were at 3 players that have gone level 8 at 4-2, so a very strong lobby overall. A lot of econ in the lobby, a lot of Astral players, the Cluttered Mind for Prestivent. Prestivent doesn't have the Deja 2, doesn't quite have the pair, but is going into Liltop, who still doesn't have that much of a board. This Deja is starting to kind of clean house.
Yeah, it's starting to work out pretty well. But I mean,
Liltop just might be dead. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Down to 4 HP. Doesn't look like survival is going to be on the menu for Liltop here in our first game of the final lobby. Meanwhile, Kurumx, another win. Got that crit build online with the Infinity Edge and the Jeweled Gauntlet. Takes a chunk out of Connerisme. How about the double redemption roll on the Thieves' Gloves for the Jace, too? That certainly helps keep things alive a bit.
The Deja players towards the bottom of the lobby right now, but we've seen them take a couple wins. Prestivent, Kurumx, Degree all sitting at 5th, 6th, and 7th. But Prestivent finds another Deja. Is he going to be the one? Is he going to be the chosen one to hit the Deja 2? You know, I think we've seen a lot of lobbies. Degree apparently is going to be the chosen one to hit the Deja 2. We've seen a lot of lobbies where 3 players contest each other on a 4/7 cost carry, and they just all hit. Apparently, the rule is you hit when there's 3 players on your comp, and you don't hit otherwise. That makes sense, right? Sure.
Deja, seeing themselves not get bought too often, so suddenly it happens, and they start to rise to the top of the shop, like, oh, it's time. Finally. I'm contested.
I'm contested. I will appear now. Exactly.
Yep. Guubums taking a big shot there from Prestivent, actually. Dropping a couple spots in the rankings. Meanwhile, on the other side, that is a Shyvana with some scary items.
That is indeed a Shyvana.
So Cris is starting to look like a player people need to start worrying about in this lobby, too.
Yeah, Cris with a dragon board and 30 gold in the bank. Maybe at this point, looking at his board, there are legendary dragons on it, but it's still mostly unupgraded. I wonder if he's going to opt to roll any more on level 8 or just take the dragon board and go straight to level 9 with it. We'll have to check on him later. For now, as we go into this carousel, we get to look at the augments. It was just gold, silver, silver, so nothing too crazy. And just also looking at the augment choices, just nothing too crazy in general.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, though, Liltop grabs the belt. Is it going to be enough to keep him alive? 28 HP below the 7th place player right now. That is rough. But let's take a look at Kurum's board at the moment. Only one Deja. So still looking for the others. There's a Hecarim too, though. That's kind of a nice hit. It picks up the
Finds
Itis.
The Hecarim. Has the Itis. Also has the Zippy, although I don't... Considering the Cavaliers he's found, I don't know if he's going to opt to play it. He also has Shapeshifter in for now to boost the Jace. But he does skip over the Zippy pair, so that does tell me, yeah, he's not going for... He's not trying to go for the Zippy version at all, just recognizing he doesn't really have items for that secondary carry, and I totally agree with this decision.
Yeah, I mean, I really like putting the Itis in there, putting the Zerat portal on it. You've also got the item from Shimmer Scale, too, which helps add a little bit of tankiness to your front line. And, if that Deja can get enough casts off, can certainly do the damage, but this one's not going to go quite as well. And Kurum takes a shot. Liltop. Ooh, Liltop won their round, so not quite dead yet.
Yeah, we got a bit of a cluster going down at the bottom. Degree, even though he hit the Deja 2, is at 21 life. Kurum, with that loss, is at 25 HP. And the top 5 of the lobby all hanging around the 50s. So Liltop is in trouble. But beyond that, it's a really close lobby.
Yeah, been rolling a little bit, but, so far away. I mean, it gets the potential for a second Olaf too, but... you don't have the money, you don't have the HP to find this Olaf 3. It'd be a miracle if you got that, but going up against Aesah now, who is going for the Seraphine board, but right now only a Seraphine 1 with no items on her. It is a very tanky Pantheon, though, and it is a Graves, too. So, despite the no items, maybe there's a shot here that this board is not too terrible after all.
Yeah, sometimes you just have enough units to overcome the lack of items, and this Olaf just getting stuck. The Olaf's down. That's a dead Liltop.
Yep. Quick exit for Liltop here in game number 1, which is a little bit rough. Quite a bit rough. But remember, Liltop did come into this with 31 points. So I guess it'd be 32 after this one. Yeah, it's unlikely they'd be able to top 4, but, stranger things have happened. We'll see.
It's a little bit rough, and I think it did stem from well, part of it, how far behind he fell, he wasn't able to even remotely stabilize on level 6, conserve some HP there. And then on 4-1, instead of rolling with Olaf, you really want to be rolling on level 7. Going level 8 just doesn't do that much for you. You'd much rather pretty much secure your Olaf 3 rather than spike yourself with some legendaries that honestly don't do that much for the board. You just much rather have the Olaf 3, and when you're gunning specifically for that 3-star, you need that extra gold that you would have spent going level 8 instead rolling on 7 for Olaf. So
definitely
unfortunate for Liltop. I'm not exactly surprised that it went wrong there.
Aesah grabbing the Bard 2 already, which is pretty nice to have going into 5-1. We'll see how much of a difference that makes as we check out Guubums Whispers board one more time here. Starting to get the items for the Zyra, looking for maybe a Negatron cloak to finish that Hurricane. If he's going for that kind of like stacking, fast attacking Zyra that we see in some of these Whispers boards.
It did end up being Whispers, which I was talking about the Obsidian Cleaver earlier. I was thinking, hey, with that item, maybe you don't want to go for Whispers. The Shred is just redundant, but it looks like it was reforged into a Randuin's. That is going to be that is not redundant with the Whisper build, so just going for that, and now we're at the Zyra, and now Guubums was that 47 HP, takes the win over Cris. This comp has been a pretty consistent top 4 comp, not necessarily going for first and capping out, just taking your solid top 4 and getting out. For Guubums, who is in the lead, that is kind of all he needs. So it is the play for sure. Just having your comp that is the consistent top 4 really just cement your lead, and then go from there into the last game.
Yeah, and with 3 item components on his bench and Pandora's items, there's a good chance he'll be able to get that Hurricane online too. So we'll have to kind of wait and check in with that a little bit later. Meanwhile, Connerisme, one of our players reaching the high heights of competitive TFT for maybe one of the first times here. Trying to make a name for themselves with this 6th guild. Did he get the Zephyr he was looking for? Well, Zephyring the Bard, I mean, I guess that helps, but probably not the target that would have been the first choice. See if it works out.
Very interesting guild board here. I speculated it was going to go into Xayah. It hasn't gone to Xayah at all. It's gone into a
Not
TG
yet.
Graves 2 and a Zippy carry.
That's the attempt anyway.
I mean, I never said it was winning this fight. I said that was what was on the board.
Giving it a shot anyway. Speaking of shots, Connerisme is going to take one from Cris. Cris winning that round. Meanwhile, Kurumx, the one on the bubble right now, came into this one 7th place in the top 8 at 28 points, and a 7th here would be pretty devastating at top 4 chances. But Kurum, I'm trying to remember, is he qualified already from points?
I don't want to confirm anything, but he is more likely than not, even if he bought 4s here. Yeah, so the bot 4, he'll still be okay, but all these players, yes, they want to make it to regionals, but to some extent there is some pride involved. You want to win the tournament. Yeah. That's part of why you're here. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the regional spots are nice, but being able to call yourself a major tournament champion is equally good. So flipping things over, Cris gets his Bard, Zephyr again. This time there's Deja on the other side. Deja with the Archangels too, which is a little bit scary. Is it going to matter though? It might. Yeah. Nope. Aoshin manages to take the Deja out, and that's going to change things quite a bit.
Kurum, the victim of the triple contest, is not able to find the Deja 2. Also runs into Cris, who is starting to build a very strong stacking dragon board, and that is going to be a 7th for Kurumx. Just rather unfortunate he wasn't able to hit in that contested lobby.
Yep. Degree on a win streak, our only win streaking player right now. As we go into the next carousel, Cavalier Emblem, taken by Degree. Okay. Connerisme grabs the Shrouds, so some late game items coming through here. Cris with the Titans. Wonder where that's going to go.
Aesah grabbed another Protector's Vow. He already had one. Oh, cool. More shields and more stats for the team.
Never a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh, let's just take an item and just give the whole team some stats from it.
Yeah.
And then do it again.
Neela 2. I was going to say, like, is he actually going to... I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it fits on the board. It's very interesting that we're now in Guild Aoshin. This is a...
Yeah.
I'm not great admittedly at like judging the strengths of these like wacky boards, but it is an interesting board for sure.
It's a lot of
it is
stats
one of
for
the
the
boards
Aesah.
of all time. There we go.
Yeah, it is a board that exists. That is true. I mean, we'll see. It's only an Aesah 1, so you can't expect as much damage from it, but there's a lot of stats from all the different guild bonuses that are active. And yeah, doing pretty good damage, actually.
Actually,
It's just a
not bad,
slow
yeah.
casting. It's just a slow casting that is the concern, right? Or
Wow.
maybe? Okay. Wow, never mind. I mean, Zippy buying time, right? There's the Jace 2. That's a pretty great hit. Cavalier Jace 2. That is going to be quite durable for Degree. We saw him pick up that Cav emblem off the carousel.
Yeah, and just providing so much more tankiness to that Jace. He is at 5 HP, so it is do or die time for him. We got a couple players on 1 to 1.5 to 2 lives right behind him. Aesah at 11, Guubums at 17, Connor has been hanging out at 20, Cris at 24, likely on 2 lives, and then he got prestivent all the way at the top, just chilling at 45 HP. You know he's got to be feeling good up there.
I would imagine so, yeah. Okay, so here's Degree going up against Guubums. Guubums did get the Hurricane, so that Zyra is doing what he wants it to do. The question is it doing it well enough to send Degree out in 6th? It looks like it may be. Oh, that Zyra nearly went down.
Oh.
Lived long enough, and that is Degree out in 6th. Don't think it's possible for Aesah to die any harder than that. And Aesah will win the round anyway. Connor's me down to 4 HP. So yeah, Degree with a little bit of a disappointing exit in 6th. But, you know, he did have 33 points coming into this one. So still doing well overall for points. Remember, the points do still carry through from the earlier 5 games today.
Yeah, he's still not in a bad spot, and I do want to call out a very specific item. That Hextech Gunblade on the Zyra could have been rerolled into anything else with the Pandora's items, those components, but instead Guubums opting to keep that item on the Zyra. The sustain kept her alive, allowed him to win that fight.
Yeah. Checking out what Aesah's got going on now. And that's going to be a pretty nice... I was going to say, yeah, immediately slammed on the Zyra. That's a... I think that's a pretty nice pickup for this point in the game. Yeah, the board arrangement favors it. The Trap Claw is going to give you that extra durability.
Especially into Zyra matchups, that just protecting the Aurelian Soul against that Zyra stun is just really valuable. So getting a Banshees here is actually so good for Aesah.
Where's the Aurelian Soul 3? Oh, swapping it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, I think recognizing he's on 1 life, the Aoshin is a little bit of a stronger carry when it's Aoshin 1 versus the Aurelian Soul 1. So just swapping over to the Aoshin. Although looking at how strong Guubums is, don't know how this fight is exactly going to go. The Aoshin, we're just waiting for the Aoshin castle, though with no AP. How much damage is it really going to do?
Yeah, it's going to do a good amount of damage, but not quite. Well, never mind.
It's good enough.
I mean, the Aoshin, yeah, I was going to say the Aoshin didn't do tons of damage, but then you got a Graves too. You got a Bard too. Bard 2 creating so much time, creating so much kind of like extra damage. Because I believe, right, things take double damage when they're Bard stunned, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so Aesah hanging on, Guubums going out in 4th, Connor's me bowing out in 5th. We've got our top 3, and just looking in context of the points, Aesah is tied for 2nd right now, 33 points. This is a very nice bonus. If he gets a 1st here, he's in a solid spot to win the tournament. For prestivent and Cris, they are at 28, 27 points. They need a little bit of help. This is that help they're getting. This puts them right back in it.
That's right. Not quite double damage for Bard, but still pretty good. 20% extra. Looks like that Deja is going to escape the Bard stun this time around, though. Being way in the back. It's a lot of damage coming out from Prestivent's board here, but the Aoshin casts, not enough damage this time, it looks like.
Wow,
and Aesah out in
Prestivent
3rd.
knocking out Aesah.
Yeah. So Aesah takes the 3rd. Pretty good. Aesah coming into this one with 33 points already on the day, so still going to be, you know, in good shape overall. Meanwhile, looks like it was Aesah and Aesah's Ghost that were fought by Prestivent and Cris, so they both win their rounds. 32 versus 24 HP as we go for the head-to-head. Prestivent versus Cris. Old guard versus new guard in a way. In terms of high top TFT finishes.
This is an interesting dynamic, actually, in terms of like old guard versus new guard, because Cris is one of the older guard of TFT. Prestivent
He's been around for a long time.
He's been around for a long time, but Prestivent has made quite a big name for himself in such a short span of time that this is that super interesting dynamic. You have an old name who's been like very quietly, like slowly grinding up, and then you have this new name who just burst out of the gate. So, and with both these players in the bottom four needing some help, they both really want this first. Cris with the Alshin 2 with the double Archangels, just the Dragon board again. This isn't the first time we've seen him pilot this today. Takes a big win off of Prestivent. Prestivent down to 1 life.
It's been cool to see the rise of Prestivent. I think the first time I saw him play was when he was Goose's partner at for a twos tournament, like a couple years ago already, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know. I've been doing TFT since set 2, so tournaments since set 2. Is
that like a Riot Grand Prix or something?
It might have been one of the Giant Slayer series. Trying to remember.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a while ago. But we'll see if Cris has enough here. Some tanky items on the Shiou, which is nice because then you can theoretically get in there and get some of the disruption from that a little bit more consistently.
Honestly, I'm just looking at these boards. Like, Prestivent has a very strong board, has done very well to get himself to this point.
Oh yeah.
Cris is just too capped out.
Seems that way. The spells come in. And is it going to be enough damage? It looks like it is, yes. And Cris should be able to knock Prestivent out with this one. And it does, I believe. Delay damage. There we go. Yeah, Cris will be our Game 6 winner. And that's huge because, again, Cris came into this one, Riley, with the lowest points in the top 8. 27